Hi folks, you were Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Listen to this live stream as you would a radio broadcast. Now, in this essay, I'd like to talk about what certainly appears to be a globalist coordinated propaganda campaign to highlight the alleged misfortunes of illegal aliens, illegal immigrants who just arrive on the doorstep of Western countries and want to freeload indefinitely while they claim asylum or pretend that they're claiming asylum after having destroyed all their documents and having given so many false places and names and locations to the authorities that the Western authorities throw their hands up and give up and say, yeah, okay, you can have asylum, simply because they can't verify the very questionable claims. Nonetheless, so these complaints that are, again, they're happening in Britain and Western Europe and North America and so on. The situation in Australia with illegal migration is a little bit different. That there isn't the boat arrival type situation here in Australia. And anyway, Australia is quite a long way from anywhere else. It's quite a long ocean voyage to get here. But the people smugglers were still attempting it. But what happens in Australia is that people arrive ostensibly as they're on vacation or something like that, or they've got some sort of short-term work visa, and they just overstay the visa, and that's where the illegal migration comes from in Australia. So it's visa overstays, or primarily visa overstays. Now, when Australia cut off the illegal migration routes, they vastly enhanced the legal migration routes by lowering the bar, lowering the requirement. Australia supposedly has this point system that you have to be a rocket scientist and speak good English to, but that only applies to white people. Only white people have to jump through those hurdles. If you're black or brown and you're a third world peasant, then it doesn't seem to apply. And it's remarkable how people, large numbers of people make it to Australia who have no qualifications whatsoever, or they have bullshit qualifications, like they're a rocket scientist from some university in the middle of Africa or the middle of nowhere, and obviously no one takes that seriously. It's a joke, but for some reason the immigration officials accept that as being a legitimate qualification. These people can't speak a fucking word of English, and yet they come to Australia in the hundreds of thousands, and then end up washing dishes or something like that. So so Australia has a slightly different problem. It's just that the bar's been lowered very, very low to let legal migrants in, which effectively is illegal migration in my view. We're assured by the government that, they only speak good English. They're only well qualified. Point system. That's bullshit. That rigor only applies to white people who want to come to Australia. So anyway, coming to these comments by supposedly illiterate migrants that speak absolutely perfect English, are running around with this perfect English saying that the food is crap, the food's terrible at the hotels. These 5-star hotels, 4 and 5-star hotels, absolute rubbish, terrible accommodation. The facilities are terrible and piss poor and so on. And they're being oppressed and put upon. And the only solution, these migrants say, or the propagandists who are writing these articles on the behalf of these alleged complainers, these illegals, they say the only solution is that you give us a free house and free food and free money and free and more free. That's the only solution. And anything else is oppression by Nazis. So we can see that there's something that doesn't quite gel in all this. Firstly, it's all coordinated and happening at the same time. So we can see again that that international coordination and organisation there by the globalists or by their proxies, the NGOs and that type of thing. So let's just have a little look at this. Now they give some names which are fake. I'm sure these people don't exist, but the articles give these names. Salvador from Nicaragua, or so and so from here, or whatever from the Philippines, and they go. So these are all sort of third world. Some of them, the African ones, and they're dirt poor. South American ones, dirt poor countries. So these people are saying the food's crap, that the 5-star accommodation is crap. So all right then, well, where do these people come from? On what basis is the accommodation and the food crap? Now they may not like the local cuisine, that I understand, but nonetheless. So here's one person comes from a country where the per capita GDP is just on $2,000. Now, to give you an idea, it's 1/20th of the per capita income of somebody living in, say, Britain, as a case in point. So they're coming from a dirt poor fucking country, dirt poor. Whether you adjust it by, purchasing power standards or however you do the mathematics here, they come from a dirt poor fucking country. And I appreciate governments there subsidised, various things like rice, for example, maybe taxpayer subsidised, but nonetheless, they're not eating quality food. These aren't people who, assuming they're on the average. Now they may be very well-to-do people from that country, and there's a concentration of wealth at the apex, far more than it is in other countries. But nonetheless, are they used to? If you look at the average accommodations, where the whole family lives in one room and it's often a dirt floor, the roof leaks in the rain, they don't have running water, they don't have sewage. If they have electricity at all, it's extremely intermittent. They'll only have it for a few hours a day. So they don't have refrigeration and other things that we take for granted here. So they come to the West and they get this room with the beds and the clean sheets, the television, the internet, and they get free food. The laundry's all done for them, and it just goes on and on. They get given free money, free mobile phones, and they're saying, well, this is just simply not a high enough standard. Now, this is absurd. They come from a place, unless they're wealthy people, in which case, why have they moved? And why would they want to destroy their documents if they're wealthy? And if they are wealthy, then it's hard to make the case that they're asylum seekers. So either way you look at this, it just doesn't stack up. Now, if they are ordinary peasants, then that means that they're living on less than $2,000 a year in these places. Even the richest people, of the ones that were listed all around, they're looking at $5,000 a year. So, and again, unemployment is 40%. So there's a chance that if there's even one income earner in the household, that's it. Why is it that these people are complaining when they're in a higher standard of accommodation than they have ever witnessed in their lives, and they're given free food? Now, just on the matter of the free food, again, the cuisine could be an issue. They're not used to the roast chicken and the peas and the potatoes. I was thinking, I get that, but that's hardly, you've been given it for free by a country that's taken you in and is giving you free accommodation. So you don't complain about these things, or at least I wouldn't. So I've got, there's somebody we know who got laid off and from his job, like the factory closed down, and he in order to sort of beat the unemployment sort of side of it, he worked out that they're giving away, there's like and I've mentioned this in another video, they give away free food to homeless people, but there's no questions asked them whether you're homeless or not. He's not, but so he goes down there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and gets the handouts. So he says the food's quite good. He says the evening meal is particularly good, and so he's now, well, during that time, he's not anymore, but during that time he was eating well. I was intrigued by this, so I went along to have a look, and sure enough, nor is it the same food every night. You may get, pasta one night and meat and potatoes the next, and rice and such the night after. So it's not like it's the same stuff every day. So he was quite impressed with it and spoke quite highly of the food. So now I assume it's at least that standard that the people in the hotels are getting. So the illegals in the hotels are getting. So why they would complain is quite beyond me. But they insist for every handout they receive, it only whets their appetite for more. Well, you're giving us free hotel room and free food, but we want a free house. We want a free everything. We want a free helicopter. We want a free, and they just got to say, just whets their appetite. And and what they've come, remember, from a very poor country, so they see around them in their cognizance at least unimaginable wealth. You have so much here. You have so much. Why won't you share it with us? Why won't you give us a free house? And yet they're already experiencing a standard of living beyond their wildest dreams back in their country of origin. So I just don't believe that these people would complain like this, since A, they were being put up to it, or B, it's just a scripted bit of nonsense to pretend to the British public or the Western public, oh, look how hard done by these people are. We owe them this, we owe them more, and then more again and more after that. So I see this as just another one of those international pro-migrant shame and blame Western population type propaganda campaigns that are endless at all sorts of levels and being done in all sorts of ways and crafted in all sorts of deceitful ways to try and get Western people to not only accept the illegal and unwarranted forced mass migration, but to suggest or imply or to clearly assert that these people are entitled to this sort of thing, and that their complaints are legitimate. Now, you complain if you're a peasant that's lived on less than $2,000 a year for fuck's sake, in some dirt poor third world country where you're lucky to see one bus a fortnight, and again you have none of the facilities. You don't run around complaining as if you're hard done by. So that's all encouraged by the activists and unreasonably put forward by the propagandists. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.